Dear colleagues and dear students, welcome to the Turkey Polar Research Webinar, which is a joint webinar of many eTwinning projects. So, who is our guest today? I'm sure many of you know. He is a scientist, he is a researcher, he is a book writer, he is a captain, and he is a painter. And he is our supporter in every project. Our teacher, Sinan, is here, and without wasting any time, I leave the floor to him. Welcome, my dear teacher, Sinan. Welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for the invitation. I also thank you for everybody in here in the late hours. I will start sharing my presentation, but I have some videos for you from the Antarctica. And if Ayfer hocam, could you stop your sharing? Thank you. Now I will share my screen with you. And I think you are seeing my presentation, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's start a small video for you.
We don't hear any voice. Is it okay?
You like the video? Now we will talk about the polar regions now today. I have a small presentation for you. Most of them have beautiful photographs from Arctic and also from Antarctic. I have a world with me in here. You can see me also on the screen with the camera. I will take you from these latitudes. I think most of you in Europe. We will go from here to the north to Arctic today. And also I will take you to the south, to all the way down to the end of the world, to the Antarctica. So we will see what's happening in the Antarctica and also what's happening for climate in both polar regions, because we have two polar regions. We know they are very cold, but I am making sure that they are complete. And there's different mini stories between Antarctica and also in the Arctic. I am scientist and also I am captain, and I work for the Polar Research of Turkey, Antarctica in many years before, and also I was in the Arctic, so I will share my experience with you today. So you have a picture on the left side. There is a huge ice, and you can see that. Did you see my cursor? Are you seeing my cursor?
No.
No?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, great. So many times I will use this one to show you. This picture just fit on the frame of the camera. There is no zoom. There is no zoom in this picture. So you can imagine that this ice goes up and goes to the side. So this is the huge things on the Antarctica. And also you can find these glaciers on the Greenland in the Arctic. They are 2 kilometers thick. So it is not going to fit your camera. So you can see there is the ice falling down in here. I just shoot it when it's falling. And you can also see there is birds in here, in the icy continent. And you cannot see any vegetables, any forests or any trees in the glacier regions. But in these glaciers, there are many minerals or the virus or the bacteria just hidden in here. So the animals, the birds came into here to find those minerals to get a food. This picture, there's a close by a bird in here. And if you look at the picture more carefully, you can see there is a bird, another this one, and here also, and here. So it is very huge picture. So that's the main view of our polar expeditions. In the Arctic, in some places, you can find some other moments. So if you look at this sign, it says that be careful because the polar bear is in everywhere. We should know that the polar bear is the top of the predators. In South, in Antarctica, we will not see this top. Let's go inside to the presentation. How I did achieve to go to the polar regions. I am very young. I think you can understand from my voice or my appearance. So how this guy go to the polar regions? First, I just go to the maritime high school. I graduated from this maritime high school with a captain license. That means I can travel anywhere on the seas. But I upgrade my career with the Karadeniz Technical University. And while I was in the university, I go to the Poland. And I hope that there's some friends or the audience from Poland. Is there? No, nobody from Poland? Okay. if so, please write to the chat. So I just go to the Poland, to the Baltic Sea, and I meet and I see in there the sea ice. The Baltic Sea just gets frozen. So I just met with the signs on the frozen ice over the sea. So we are not seeing this sea ice in anywhere else in Europe, just in the northern parts. And also we saw the sea ice in the polar region. So when I was in Baltic Sea, I saw the sea ice, I just step on it, and I turn back to my country and I say, I will never see the sea ice again. But 5 years later, I just came for the master science to the ITU, Istanbul Technical University. I just started to work in the Polar Research Center in Turkey, and I just go to the Antarctica in 2017. And this picture, I took this one in the Antarctica. Now it's a stamp in our country, so you can buy this to send a letter. And also after that, I just go to our first national Arctic expedition to the Arctic site. And I will show that also in this side, you know, the Greenland. And also there is a small island, which is ruled by the Norway. It is called Svalbard. We have some documentaries, and also if you Arctic videos, the Svalbard is the northernmost point in the earth, which you have found a city to live in. So it is very close to the North Pole. So we go there for the science, and this is our team also. And I just go to educate myself to the abroad. One of them is Koruma Institute. I work in there with the Korean satellites to measure the extreme points of the Earth, to understand them with the satellite images, with the satellite sensors. After that, I go to the Netherlands, to the TU Delft University. Anyone from Holland, Netherlands? Maybe no. Okay, if someone else is from here, please write to the chat. I go to the Delft University. You know that the Netherlands, the Amsterdam, just below 2 meters below from the sea level. So it is very important to understand that if the glaciers melt in the polar regions, the countries like Holland or the other countries will get flooded by ocean water. So I learned in here from the experts of the world what happens if the sea levels rise and what is the science beyond that. I will teach you what I learned from here in the next presentations. I'm now working in TÜBİTAK Polar Research Institute. You can see the Turkish name in here. We are conducting polar region expeditions to the both sides, to south and also to north. So 2 months ago, I was in the Antarctica. So you saw my latest video. I just took them 2 months ago in Antarctica. And in the summer months, we will go to the North Pole, to the Arctic. And we have many publications, so you can find them on internet and or in other places. Most of them in Turkish, but we are also have many scientific articles written in English. And also you can see us on the televisions. I have 2 child books. You can see them anywhere in the world. And also I just have a comic books for the last 2 years. It is also in the famous journal of the Turkey. And I am the first Antarctic ambassador of Turkey, which is given by an international community. Now I am sharing my experience, and I am sharing the piece of the Antarctica with the youngest people, youngest audience. And also we are inviting most valuable people in the world to talk about the climate change, because we are know many things about the climate change, but we don't know. They are just coming from polar regions. They are too important. What happens in polar regions about the climate change? Now I will teach the most specific things in this presentation. Also, I am a photographer, so many of my photographs taking some awards or prize. So this is one of them in the international book. My pictures chosen to the some kind of degree in the books. And also we have a strong entrance to the polar regions. I have to say that our schools is not teaching the polar regions or polar science. So this is the lack of the information. Now we should change it, and you can change it for the next generations. Please look at there are 3 maps we should know. One of them is Antarctic polar projection. The other one is the Arctic polar projection. And this is the Mercator map. Most of the schools has this map on the right side, this one. So if you ask a child, or if you ask yourself, can you imagine this Antarctica is flat or round? You cannot understand from this map. So nobody understands it, because it is not getting this round. So everybody thinks that the Antarctica is a flat, or you cannot understand what is this latitude. So this is just one point. It is the 90 degrees of south. If you look at the polar projection maps, you can understand that the Antarctica is a huge continent. You can see that here, and it's surrounded with only waters. So no places connected with the other continents. I think we have a question. Fatih, please ask your question.
Fatih may not be understand English.
Okay.
Maybe it's a problem.
Fatih, soru sormak ister misin? El kaldırdın.
Ela da var.
Sorularınızı chat'ten yazabilirsiniz. You can write your questions to the chat, and the moderator will ask them to me directly. And I will continue now. We have Antarctic waters. We call them Southern Ocean. And we also have an Arctic. You can see that there is only ocean in here. It is the Arctic Ocean. And this whiteness is a sea ice. It is just the ocean, which is frozen. But in here, you can find the land. This is called Greenland Island. The Greenland has a ice on it. It's called glaciers. We will talk about the difference between the sea ice and the glaciers. And the Antarctic continent, this is the white lines show that this is a continent. So you can find the land. And over the land, you can find that ice. So this is the glacier. We are completely covered to the Antarctic continent. And also you can find this ice, this whiteness. This is the Southern Ocean. And the ocean gets frozen, so you can find the sea ice just surround the Antarctic waters. So it is almost impossible to go to the Antarctica in the winter months, because this sea ice go inside, and also there's too much darkness, so no planes go to the Antarctica in the winter months. But in Arctic, you can go to the Arctic very easily, because it's connected with 3 other continents. So if you go from Europe or Turkey, if you go with the car, so you can just came to this northern part, this Asia and Europe are just in the Arctic. And also you can go from the North America to the northern parts. This is the Canada. And this is Alaska from the United States. So you can go just easily to the Arctic. But if you want to go to the inside of the Arctic Ocean, you need a very strong ship. So we are building the ships with the ice strength. So let's get back to the maps. These maps show you just some important scales for the vicinity of the Ecuador. and you cannot understand the polar regions very well from these images. So I want you, from the teachers, please put this map, put the polar projection maps to your school walls to better understand the polar regions. So next thing, polar regions are very important because of its ice and its whiteness. The ice gives to the earth the breathing. The world is just breathing like the humans. So the white things can reflect this sunlight. So in this way, the earth just breathes. So let's examine this one. We have an albedo scale in the physical science. This scale only has two numbers. One of them is 0, the other them is 1. So all the colors, you know, just fit in these two numbers. So if you saw just very bright, the whiteness, it is called 1. So that means 100% reflection to the light. So if you have sea ice or the glaciers on the polar regions, so the sun is not heating world too much. But if we melt the ice, if we destroy the ice, if we destroy the glaciers, you will not see that. You will get absorbance for the sunlight, so there will be no more reflectance. It will come to the 0. So the oceans will absorb sunlight much more, so the global warming will be increased. So this is our main threat for the next future year, because the sea ice and the glaciers are melting and their limits and their extents are just decreasing. So this is the most important thing for us. And the other most important thing for us is magnetic fields. You know, the compass is just show the way to the or just to the south. So if we lose the magnetic field, the many more particles from the sun will enter the atmosphere and we will turn the Earth to the Venus. If you look at for the Venus, you will understand what I am going to talking about. From the Arctic, how they are ruled the Arctic. They are just different. From Antarctica and Arctic is completely different. And there's Arctic Council in the North Pole. Only the border of the countries. For example, this is the United States. It has a border in here. This is Russia. Its border starts from here, from the Bering Sea to the Europe. To this side is the huge side, huge coastline belongs to the Russia. This side you can find Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland in here. You know the Greenland is belongs to the Denmark, so Denmark is in here. So the Canada is the last country. There are 8 countries, the 8 member states of the Arctic Council. They just rule this place. So nobody else can just join or do something else. They just going to do only for scientific studies. So we have some scientific group, Arctic Council, and also we have indigenous people. Indigenous people means the local people who already live in the polar regions. You can remember them. They are just building igloos. They are in many places, and they just hunting some fish under the water, under the icy water. From the documentaries, you can remember them. They are just Inuit, the local people. They just live in these places. Also, they just represent themselves in the Arctic Council. But the Arctic Council only for these 8 countries, and they just dig these places. For example, Norway can take the minerals underwater in here. Russia can do this. And also the many things you can see in the Arctic is completely different from Antarctica. For example, you cannot put any garbage, even a pencil. You cannot put this as a garbage to the Antarctica, but the many countries, they just putting this to the Arctic. So they are just completely different. And also you can see some guns, some military drills in Arctic for the NATO or for the Russia. You can see them, but in Antarctica, it is completely forbidden to use any weapons or to bringing any weapons to Antarctica. So it is completely forbidden. So it is the best place in the world you can find. There is no war and there is no guns. But in Arctic, it is completely opposite. As humans, we are just sharing some borders, but as nature, there are no borders. The nature connects the whole world together. If you look at the camera to my world, you can see we are in Europe. If you put something to these seas, the Atlantic Ocean carries it to the south, to Antarctica, and also it can carries it to the North Pole with these ocean currents. Ocean currents is too important. If you put some garbage to here, it can go to the polar region. And also, if you put something else, also it can be carried by the ocean currents. And you can find many ocean current names. It's the Gulf Stream or the Alaska or the Madagascar Stream. You can find many ocean currents name, but there is one huge conveyor belt connects all of the ocean currents. We call it thermohaline circulation, or the other name is the ocean conveyor belt. So if you look at this route, the warm waters coming from the equator to polar regions, and it gets cold and it turns to a more deeper waters, deeper ocean currents. So it also surrounds all over the oceans, and these currents carries atmosphere and also the other. It carries other climate issues to all of the sides of the world. So this is too important. So if we do something to its speed, the climate will change. For example, if you put some pollutions to the sea, their chemical report will be changed. So this will be get more heavier and it will be go slower. So if this happens, the climate trends will be changed. Nowadays, the trends of these currents are increasing. For example, we are heating the world more than normal standards. So we are putting much more heat to the earth. So the ocean currents getting more warmer. So these warmer currents came to the North Pole, and they are just entering to the inside of the North Pole. So the ice is melting too much fast in here. So the deep ocean currents are not occurring. So that's the main problems nowadays. But the ocean currents are too important. So we should know and learn about them in the near future. And let's look at the glaciers, the main object of the polar regions. So if you think about that, this is the Antarctica land, this is continent. The snow is coming down to over the land for the thousands of years, millions. So there is a thickness. This thickness of the snow called glacier. This is completely ice. The snow is getting thicker because the average temperature is also below zero. So it's if you saw a snow is raining to the Antarctica, it just gets frozen. So we call it ice. So these glaciers are like a book pages. So its most thickest point is 4 kilometers in Antarctica. And also the average, if you look at this Antarctic continent map, all over the place has glaciers, and their is 2 kilometers. So it is a really huge place on Earth. So if you look to the world map, if you imagine if there's fresh waters on the glaciers, so more than half of the fresh waters in the Earth is in the Antarctica, in these glaciers. So if these glaciers melt, the sea level will rise, and also we will lose many clean water sources. They just get into the salty water, to the sea levels. So that's the main problem of the climate change. And if you saw some infographics, or if you look for some scientific articles and other things, you will see many technical words like the left side picture. We have polar science or glaciology. We have many science to work for this technical climate things. So I think we have some primary school, and also we have some teachers. But if you go to the university or college, you choose to be a scientist on a glacier, or you can be a scientist on a sea ice and the other things. So you will see the technical things of these things. And as a scientific research, we know many things. We heard about the climate change. We heard about the carbon dioxide things. So all of the data, which is from the last years or the ice age or the other things, all of them came from the Antarctic research, because we have glaciers on the Antarctica and they are just frozen snows. So that means last 10 years or last 20 years, there's some snow on the atmosphere and they just go to the Antarctica and stay in there. So if you go and take this snow particle, you can understand what's happening in the latest years. So we go there to the back stage of the Earth to the nearly 1 million years ago. So we found the every atmosphere particles from 1 million ago, 1 million years ago to the today. So we found them the Earth to the ice age and get back. Go to the ice age and get back. So we are just between two ice ages. So that means there's a glaciers covering the world, most of the places, and in some period they just melting. So we are in that period. The glaciers are melted. So in the next period, what will going to be happen? The glaciers will be get frozen again in the most of the places. So you can see these things happening in thousands of years. So we are in just some place between. And also we have some other scientific research about the world. We heard many things. One of them is the ozone hole. It is covering the Earth atmosphere with a protective layer. We can call it a protective layer. And some of the time we found that this protective layer is getting thinner. So nowadays, it is always thinner in some place. It is Antarctica. So if you look at this scientific result, it means that there is a 100% in here. It is the most thinner point. Antarctica. That means if you go to Antarctica and if you don't use sun cream, you remember the sun cream from the summer times. We only use it in summer times, but in Antarctica we use it also in winter and also in Antarctica summer times, because the sunrise in the Antarctica will be more dangerous, because when this ozone hole gets thinner, the more how can I say, I couldn't remember the name. So it's more dangerous for your skins. So it can make you a skin cancer for the people and also for animals. So in Antarctica, the many animals, I will show you the pictures, they have a thicker layer and also they have a feathers to protect them. And the sea ice. Sea ice covers only in the oceans. They are not occur in the lands. They just on the oceans. If the ocean water gets in winter times, we saw sea ice happening in the surface of the oceans, and only this one goes only 6 meters thickness in maximum. So there is a huge difference between sea ice and glaciers. Glaciers can go 4,000 meters thickness, but go for 6 meters. This is why happening, because the glaciers occurring from the snow, and the sea ice only occurs on the frozen sea levels, frozen sea waters, because the sea waters have also pressure under the water and also it's salty. So they are both very different type of the ice. So if you look for the more scientific things, you can you look for some sea ice degrees for the next your studies in the near future. And we talk mainly about sea ice, glaciers. We always say snow, ice, but there's many other things that we are working in polar regions. One of them is space, and the other is the atmosphere. So if we go to the polar regions, we know that the polar regions, atmosphere in the polar regions is less thicker than. So if we look at space from the polar places, polar regions, it is more closer. And also it is more cleaner because there is no dirty city lights in the polar regions. And also we have the darkness periods in the polar region. So it makes more valuable for the observation for the space. And also the atmosphere is too important in the Antarctica because it is the clean. Also it's the ocean, also the cleanest. It is the cleanest place in the earth, the Antarctica. So we are going to the atmosphere to understand what's happening in here and what's the pollution degree is coming in each year to the Antarctica. And we can look for the food web. The food web is the most important thing to understand what's happening in the polar regions. The left side shows the Arctic food web, and the right side is the Antarctica. The Antarctica and the Arctic has both some same species in the oceans. One of them is phytoplankton. It is the algae which makes photosynthesis for the creating oceans, creating oxygen for the world. And also we know the krill, which is the smallest species for the main food web for the whales. So in both polar regions, the whales are moving just between them to feed themselves in the summer months. In each summer months, they are just migrating from both polar regions. Also, the birds can migrant from between the both polar regions. And we have some other species. For example, one of them is polar bear. It is just only, you can see them only in the North Pole. And also we know the penguins. When we say the penguins, everybody thinks about the Antarctica, but they are just not living in the Antarctica. I will show you the pictures. And also we have many seals and things, and all of them are dependent on the oceans. So if you remember what I am going to tell you about the ocean currents, it is too important the ocean currents should be continued because they are carrying many minerals and other things from Ecuador to the polar regions. So in this way, we can see many animals lives on the waters of the polar regions. And this is the most fascinating animals for the both polar regions. When I go to in 2019 to the Arctic, I saw the polar bear and takes its photo. And also in this year, last 2 months, I was in the Antarctica and I saw the biggest and heaviest emperor penguin species. We have 18 penguin species. You can here, and none of them is living in Antarctica. Only 5 of them living in Antarctica, and the biggest one is emperor penguin. It is 1 meter and 20 centimeters long, and everybody says that the penguins lives in Antarctica, but this is not true. There are 18 different penguins, and they are just living in 4 continents. So if you saw some of these species, they are not coming to Antarctica, and also some species living in Africa. And also you can see many species living in South America. And in every year, we are making a new discovery in the Antarctica because it is the less known place for the humans. We better know the space from the Antarctica. Are also unknown for us, and it is very hard to work in there because its deepest point is 7 kilometers deepest. So there is huge place in the Southern Ocean. And in last year, in 2022, the German scientific research vessel make a discovery. It is the biggest colony of nesting fish in the world. So that means this ice fish sitting in here, making a new baby, and all of them is millions in an area, and their complete is 240 square meters. It is like a huge city. So that's just found new on the Antarctica. So there are many other things that we don't know now in the Antarctica. They are just waiting for the scientists to find them. And as the climate is changing, the sea ice are melting. For example, in Arctic Ocean, in the winter months, this Arctic Ocean completely gets frozen. But in summer, many of the sea ice gets melt, and in every year with the increase melt many more. So if you go to the from China to the Europe, you can, if you use the North Pole passage, you will go 3 times faster than other traditional passage. So everybody, I think, know the Silk Road, which is start from China and pass from the Anatolian to the Europe. It is called the Silk Road, but it is now the new name is Polar Silk Road. So the Chinese are sending their products from the North Pole to the Europe. And also this place happens in the other side of the world. If you put something to the Europe, to the America, to the west coast, you can use also the polar regions, and you can go faster in this way. But if the ships pass from here, the pollution and the many changes will bring with the seas to the. And this is the most important topic for today, because if you look at for the new world map in the right down corner in here, you can understand that there is something going to be changed in the world map. This world map will be our future world map, because if you look at the left side, these are melting, and they are melting too fast. I took this photograph from Arctic, and I have a prize on it. I have an award, but it's not a positive or good award, because the meaning of this one is we have many people will be migrants, and many people will lose their homes, because we are living on the coastal places, and half of the world population living on those coastal places, and these glaciers are not stopping melting, they are just continue to melt. So if we increase the average heat of the world to Celsius degrees, the 6 meters will be came to the each seas in the world. So that means if you look at this city map, the country map, the colors, if the colors goes to the red, the many people, the millions of people will be affected by this sea level rise, and they are just not stopping. So because we have some pollutions, it's still continue, and also we have some other things put into the atmosphere. So if we couldn't stop in 2 degrees, this will be get more increase, and this 6 meter of sea level rise will be increased many more. So in many of my presentations, I am just making a joke. I'm just telling that if someone is going to sell you a summer house in the coastline, just don't buy it because it will be get down from the sea level rise in the near future, and our child will see that very easily in near future. And we talk about many major things of the polar science slides. After this slide, I will show you what we are doing in the polar regions as Turkish people. We are conducting scientific expeditions to the Antarctic Peninsula. It is this side, and this is the most affected place by climate in Antarctica. The glaciers are melting too fast in this place, and also the sea ice is melting too fast in this place. This is the why we choose a station to build in here. So we completed 7 expeditions each year from 2010. We making many progress on the polar science in here. This is an example of our first discovery, one of the phytoplankton types, and also we have some algae types and the other things we found, and we gave their names with the scientists. And I will show you a paper about that in the next, after the slide. This is our first team in the Antarctic continent, and we have some special programs in the country to complete these expeditions and conduct these expeditions, and we have some kind of great maps and great ancient scientific studies in Turkey. For example, the Antarctic continent just discovered in 80s, but this map drew in 50s, and this places shows the closest places to the Antarctica. So there are many other works in the history of the Turkish science for the polar. We have many things like that. These pictures from Antarctica, these 3 modules are scientific stations, the small scientific station. We will build the huge ones in the near future. We are using these stations like a laboratory, because we are going to the field. It is very cold. We are taking our samples and coming to these places. These places just heated few temperature more than the outside. So we are working inside and making some contributions to the science. And also we are diving. We have divers. This is an iceberg. He touches the iceberg. And also the many places like this one. It is not flat. There are many dangerous places in the Antarctica. And also you can see another station in here. This is the Chilean station. We are exchanging scientists with the foreign countries in Antarctica, because Antarctica gives you a best opportunity to share your science and to share your scientists. So we are in here with the scientists in other countries' stations. And our 7th expedition conducted by a leadership of a woman. She is Professor Burcu. She make a leadership for the expedition team. So we are conducting also 30 people team to the each side to the Arctic and Antarctic. Every year we are changing many new scientists. And this is the Antarctica. I took this photograph. We have some automatic stations which is just gathering data by itself. So it is important to build some kind of stations. We have 4 stations like that. Also, I think we have a scientist who names it Çetin Biçer. I think he will be in here, but we will look for the. We were with 2 months later. I also prepare a video for you. If my colleague is in here, I will show you in the end of the presentation. And also we discovered the emperor penguin in the first time for the history of this island, because the climate is changing and the animals are changing places. So I made a publication about this one. It will be published in next month. And also we are conducting many other studies in Antarctica. If we look at the Arctic, we also making scientific progress in Arctic. For example, we are conducting many different sites, especially for the ocean sciences, oceanography. And if you look at those 2 scientists, they are just having garbage. So when we are doing scientific studies, we also saw some garbages on the land. So we are just collecting them, but because nobody else can collect them. But this garbage came from our land. So we are putting some dirt to the seas, to the oceans in here, and they are just go with the currents to the Arctic. And also we are making some painting competitions and other competitions among children. So they are just making their imagination, and we are taking their things to the Antarctica, and the scientists holding them, and we are taking pictures and sending back to the child. And this is our timeline. I have a book, and this is inside of a book. We conducted our first expedition in 2017, and also we created a polar museum in 2018 in Turkey. And also we made another things with in 2020 we sent first teacher to the Antarctica from our country, and this year we sent 3 high school students to the Antarctica to make their project about Antarctic science. And also we are conducting many other things in the timeline. We have a limited time in here, so I can express a few things. But if you look for the much more things, you can find our documentaries in our website. 2 of them is just English. You can just directly watch them in English. The other 3 is in Turkish, but you can find some subtitles in the YouTube to also watch them. And we have also education and outreach activities. So we are bringing scientists to the polar regions, but when they are turned back to our countries, we are bringing them with the child or with the schools to what they learn. They are teaching them about the polar science, because in our lesson types in each school, we don't have very good polar science knowledge. So we should add them to the curriculums. And also in our country, we have high school students polar competitions, and these 3 students was in Antarctica for their bioplastic projects in this year. And each year we are making this competition continue, and we are taking high school students to the Antarctica. And if the students in here listening us, if they go to the university, they can join our scholarship program to work for the polar science with us in this institute and now in the Polar Institute. So you can came here with an easily scholarship program in near future. And in 1 hour, I just express in the top of the iceberg, but we have many things under the iceberg. So we can find each other. We can talk about with the other things, what's happening in the Antarctica, in the other presentations. I would like to say thank you for listening. I have one more video, but if our meteorological engineer, the scientist Çetin is here, we can also talk with him.
Çetin teacher, where are you? He's not in here, I think.
Okay. Okay, I am just stopping my presentation. Okay.
Thank
Ready
you.
for questions?
Yes, questions.
You can ask your questions by raising your hands.
They raise.
Ayşegül, you can speak.
First of all, I think you had a very good experiences. My question is, did anything happen in Antarctica that upset you related to nature? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, but I didn't understand your word. What happened about the nature in our studies? What you mean?
Did anything happen in Antarctica that upset you related to nature?
I think I didn't understand the upset.
Sad.
Sad. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes, great question. The presence of the human is a very sad thing because the emperor penguins in Antarctica or the polar bears in the north, they are just their homes, those places. So if a human, we just bring our footprint to here to these places to make science. But if when we are making science, we are creating some pollution. So this is probably the most sad things because we should work more clean and we should bring the less anthropogenic effect to the polar regions. For example, we are going to by the seas with the ships, but those ships using the oil. So that's make a pollution to the atmosphere. So I think this is the most upset thing. We are going for science, but we are bringing also the pollution. Is it good answer for you?
Hamitan teacher, you have a question, I think. You can ask.
Ben İngilizce soru soramayacağım ne yazık ki, o yüzden Türkçe soracağım. Ama İngilizce konuşursanız onu anlayabiliyorum artık.
Ben çeviririm. I will translate.
Öncelikle hocam çok teşekkür ediyorum. Çok güzel bir sunumdu. Benim aslında sorudan ziyade sizle bizim bir projemiz var. Bu konu da onun üzerine geldi. Bir senaryo yazıyoruz şu an. Sizden biraz düşüncelerinizden faydalanmak için böyle bir soru sormak gereksinimi duydum. Şöyle bir senaryomuz var bizim. Farklı bir gezegene gittik. Şu an orada yeni bir görevimiz var. Bu görevde öğrencilerimiz o gezegenin bayrağını tasarlayıp bir göreve çıkacaklar. Bu göreve çıkacakları yerde sizin kutuplar gibi olacak. Yani zor bir coğrafyaya gidip bir bayrak açacaklar. Sizin az önce bayrak açtığınızı da gördük. Çok güzel bir durum. İlk başta öğrencilerimiz bu senaryo gereği gidecekleri yer kutuplara benzeyeceği için kutupları araştırıp öğrenmeleri gerekecek. Daha sonra da o bayrağı açtıkları zaman ne hissettiklerini bir dramatizasyonla bize sunacaklar. Bizim sizden istediğimiz proje için şu: sizler kutuplara giderken sizi en çok zorlayan şey neydi? Bu zorlukları nasıl aştınız? Ve o bayrağı açarken neler hissettiniz? Daha sonra da öğrencilerimizin yaptıkları o dramatizasyonlarla sizinkine en çok benzeyen kişi bizim şampiyonumuz olacak senaryo gereği. Bir uzmanın gerçekten karşılaştırması gibi olacak. Ben de bunu kayıt altına alacağım.
Güzel.
Uzun bir soru oldu. Özür diliyorum.
Yok, ben İngilizce yanıtlasam, İngilizce çevirsem.
Aynen, İngilizce zaten. İngilizce bizim için daha önemli. Çünkü bütün farklı ülkelerden öğrencilerimiz var.
Okay, great. The question is, they are preparing a scenario for among the children. They are just going to foreign planet, and they have a mission in those planets. They are creating and designing a flag for the planet, and they will just raise the flag in that planet. So they are just asking me what I feel when I was opening a flag in Antarctica, because it is just like a foreign planet. So and the other question was, what was the hardest part for me to go to the polar regions? So I think the question is, when opening a flag in Antarctica is almost the hardest thing in the world, because the wind is blowing from everywhere. So you are just trying to open a flag, but it just go everywhere. So you just making a record with the camera too many times. So it is the most hardest part. But when you open a flag, you just represent a scientific community for your country, for your nation. So everybody, when goes to the Antarctica, they just bringing their own flags, but the Antarctic continent has no flag. So when we are making some presentations or competitions among our Antarctic presentations, we are just telling to the child to make their own Antarctica flag, because the Antarctica has no flag, and also they are ruled by an Antarctic treaty with a peace for all over the world. So that's I think the good mission for you and for your children. So I think they will design very good flag for a foreign in your homework or in your work, but they just think about not the differences between the cultures. They just think about the science and the future of the humanity. So I think that's the most important point to creating a new type of a flag.
Ben çok teşekkür ediyorum hocam.
Rica ederim.
Sinan hocam, Çetin hocam buradalar. Çetin İçer hocam. Ona da bir merhaba diyelim.
Yes.
En son sayfada. Çetin hocam, hoş geldiniz. Welcome. Çetin
Merhabalar, merhabalar. Nasılsınız?
İyiyiz hocam, siz nasılsınız?
Teşekkürler. Özkan hocam benim eski bir arkadaşım. Dolayısıyla bir katılmak istedim dinleyici olarak. Herkese başarılar diliyorum.
Hoş geldiniz. I would like to share my screen for you, and this is my screen. We have the meteorological engineer. He's an expert. His name is Çetin in here with us. So we were together in Antarctica 2 months ago. So I prepared our video what we did for the meteorological stations in Turkey, in Antarctica for Turkey. This is our meteorological stations. He is the expert. He is gathering. He can give a small speech about them within here. So me and Çetin in here, we are just working to maintenance. So you can see there is a broken sensors in here. We completed 2 days work for this operation. It is very hard to make because it is very cold, and you are just touching to the metals. The metals are getting frozen, almost frozen. It's in seconds, because it's very conductivity is high. So it is very hard to work with this meteorological station. So this is our video in the speed mode. So you can see the storm is passing over us. Hocam bir şeyler söylemek ister misiniz? Yarı katılımcımız Türkçe. Ben İngilizce'de çevireyim yine. İngilizce'de söyleyebilirsiniz.
Güzel bir çalışma ortamı oldu. Yardımlaşarak, yani orada yardımlaşmayı gerçekten vurgulamak istiyorum. Hem sizinle hem tüm ekip arkadaşlarıyla. Bu gerçekten önemli. Birbirimize motivasyon ve işleri tamamlamak anlamında. Bunları söyleyeyim şimdilik.
Peki, teşekkür ediyorum. He just expressed our collaboration in Antarctica. It is very hard to work for one people, because it's the teamwork. So we completed the teamwork. So you can find our meteorological data in internet. It's easily to find. So we can share our link. Thank you for scientist Çetin.
Thank you.
Teşekkürler. Sinan hocam, chatten bir sorumuz var. Türkan Balcı hocamız, onu Türkçe söyleyeceğim. Hocamız İngilizce anlamadığını ama burada görsellerden kendimce yorumladım diyor. Ve size bir sorusu var kendinin. Kutuplarda buzulların oluşumunu tekrar sağlamak için atmosferdeki oksijen oranının yükseltilmesi yeterli olur mu?
Güzel. Bir Türkçe bir İngilizce mi cevap vereyim?
Nasıl isterseniz.
The question is the glaciers are melting in polar regions. So how we can stop it? Can we turn it back if we increase the oxygen level? So this is not happening with our things. We cannot do something about the melting of the glaciers because it is a thousands of years period. The glaciers are melting and getting frozen again. So this is called the ice age. So we are going to the minimum of the ice age. So as a humans, we just only stop it to bring its natural position. But we are making it rapid warming. So that's our main problem. So I will tell this one in Turkish in fast. Şimdi buzul çağında olduğumuz için buzullar çok hızlı bir şekilde eriyor ve hızlı bir şekilde donacak. Buzul çağının bir kendi trendi bu. Biz buzul minimum dediğimiz buzulların eriyeceği minimum seviyeye doğru gidiyoruz. Bunu insan olarak etki etmemiz çok zor ama insan olarak etki etmemizi biz ters ediyoruz. Yani biz sıcaklığı arttırarak onu eritme kapsamında çok hızlı etki ediyoruz. Bizim önce bunu durdurmamız gerekiyor. Paris İklim Anlaşması gibi farklı anlaşmalarla bu sıcaklık artışını durdurmamız gerektiği yönde hareketler yapıyoruz. Onun dışında bir insanüstü makineyle vesaire hani bunu tekrar geri döndürecek kadar bir gücümüz yok. Çünkü dünyanın ısınma soğuma trendleri var. Bu trendde biz ısınmaya doğru gittiğimiz için yani buzulların maksimum eriyip de deniz seviyenin maksimum yükselmesine gittiğimiz için bunu bir insan gücüyle durdurmak zor ama tersini yapabiliriz. Bir nükleer bomba atıp bütün Antarktika'yı eritip hızlandırma gibi tersine şeyler olabilir.
Evet.
El kaldıranlar var.
We have a foreign guest for a question. I cannot read her name.
I can't read too.
Hey, can you open your mic, please?
Lütfen. Öncelikle merhabalar, iyi akşamlar dilerim size. Çok güzel.
Georgia. You are from Georgia.
Evet.
Thank you.
Öncelikle çok güzel bir sunumdu. Öyle çok güzel sundu ki Sinan Bey ki hiçbir sorum olmadı ve çok mutlu olduk ben ve hocam. Ben 159. Devlet Okulu'nun öğrencisiyim. Tiflis. Çok memnun oldum sizinle tanıştığımızda ve çok güzel bir konferans ve çok güzel bir bilgiler elde ettik sizinle. Çok teşekkür ederim.
Ben teşekkür ederim. Çok sağ ol. Teşekkür ederim.
Can I ask a question, Sinan teacher?
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Gisha.
First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. And my question is, if the sun temperature increases, how long will it take for the poles to melt completely?
Great. If we look for the Antarctica, because the huge glaciers in here, the Antarctica, if you look at the area, it is bigger than Europe. So if you think about the European continent, the Antarctica is bigger than Europe. And also it's completely covered with glaciers. So if all of the glaciers of the Antarctica melts, the sea level will rise 60 meters. So 60 meters. So this is the dangerous part for our world. But if something's happening or if something's melting in one hemisphere, the other hemisphere goes different, the opposite. So, for example, if the sea ice are melting in summer in here, the Antarctica gets frozen with sea ice. So, if you look for the sun, we have some tilt of the earth. So one place is getting warmer, one place is getting cooler. So this is not going to be happen completely. All of the glaciers melt because the ratio will increase and the seas will be expand. But it will, for example, if you have too much water, there will be some evaporation in some places, and there will be more snow cover. So the earth is just breathing. for one side is melting, the other side gets cool. So this is the nature of the world. So it is not, I think, going to be happen completely. All of the glaciers will be melt. Until this time is going to be happen, it will be turned back. The trend will be turned back, and the Earth will be get cooler. So we will be seeing this in near future. But we have some huge differences. For example, in the last ice age, it increases the sea levels in more than 100 meters. So the Black Sea, the Karadeniz, and also we have some Istanbul Bosporus, they just came with this melting of the glaciers. So this is just in 1,000 years. So we should know what happened in the history. If we look for all the scientific results, we will better understand for the future. But if a meteorite hits today to the Antarctica, it will completely melt in seconds. So that's a threat. It is like a science fiction, but it can be happen because it happens in Mexican Gulf. A meteorite hits here, so dinosaurs will extinguish. So this can be happen also in other places. For example, if we take a look for the north places, we cannot see too much glaciers. The best and the huge glaciers are in Greenland. It's the thickest point is 3 kilometers, but it is smaller than Antarctica. So these places, the Arctic is completely getting melt. So when this finished, if the glaciers is finished, it will be turned back for the very negative effects on the climate. So we will see this one in the near future. For example, I am working for the sea ice. In winter months, the sea ice completely covers Arctic Ocean. But in summer months, with the increasing heat, the summer sea ice getting very small area. We have some predictions like this in 2100, for example, 80 years later, this one, there will be no summer sea ice. But in recent scientific studies show that it is more closer. It is going to happen in 2050. So in 30 years, we will see this with our eyes. There will be no summer sea ice in the North Pole. That means you cannot see polar bears anymore in here. So that's going to be happen, and this will be affect our climate too much more. So we will understand this in near future.
Hülya Demir Özmen, you can ask your question.
Thank you. I was interested in your speech. I had 4 questions. How
Yes.
does spring in the Arctic affect polar bears?
How was what affect the polar bears? Can you repeat?
How does spring in the Arctic affect polar bears?
Good, okay. Will you ask all the questions or you need one by one?
I think one by one.
One by one, okay. The polar bear is a special animal. It is the biggest carnivore in our world today. And it needs eat too many food to go to the sleep for the winter. So it needs getting fat. So it needs to be getting bigger. But in summer months, spring months, it needs sea ice because the sea ice make a flat surface for polar bear and it gets camouflage in the white places because you can see, look for the polar bear pictures, they just completely white. So the animals need to be camouflaged to hunt. So we need sea ice. In spring and in summer, the sea ice getting smaller, so the polar bears cannot get hunt easily because the other animals see it from very far and they just run away. So that's going to be affect polar bears negatively way. If the heats are increased, going to be increased, we will see the polar bear population will be decreased.
Thank you. And are there jellyfish at the poles?
I think yes, but I didn't see it because the jellyfish lives in every waters.
Thank you.
I want to say something to Turkish people, Sinan teacher. Gençler yazıyorsunuz neden İngilizce, neden Türkçe değil, biz anlamıyoruz falan ama buradaki yabancı öğrencileri, onların dilleri de İngilizce değil yani. Birçoğu farklı farklı milletlerden. Ortak bir dil seçmemiz gerekiyor ve eTwinning projeleri, Avrupa projeleri bildiğiniz gibi amacımız biraz da birbirimizi anlamak, tek dil altında buluşabilmek. O yüzden siz de bu tarz toplantılara girdikçe bence dilinizi geliştireceksiniz. Amacımız bu. Yani biz size Türkçe çeviriyor olsak İngilizce kısmını hiç dinlemeyeceksiniz. Tamam mı? Biraz daha böyle toplantıları fazlalaştıralım bence. Hepimiz için iyi olacak. Değil mi Sinan Hocam?
Yes. I would like to answer your question again. I will just share something. This is a jellyfish from Antarctica. They just saw it in Antarctica. And this is a jellyfish from Arctic. So it is very easy to find your questions or your wonder from the internet. So this is jellyfish in Arctic and this is Antarctic. So in both polar regions, you can saw jellyfish.
Okay, thank you, Sinan teacher. And eTwinning Berat, you can open your mic.
Öncelikle iyi akşamlar hocam. Ben fazla İngilizce konuşamıyorum. Ben Türkçe soracağım sorumu. Hocam bu Antarktika'ya gittiğiniz zaman yani bayrağı açtığınızda ne gibi duygular yaşadınız? Onu da Türkçe söyleyebilir misiniz acaba?
Teşekkür ediyorum. Şimdi orada ya yüzyıllardır diğer ülkeler var. Bizim Pir Reis, kartograf denizci Pir Reis 1513 yılında haritayı çizmiş bir dünya haritası. Ama 1800'de keşfetmişler Antarktika'yı. Halbuki 300 yıl önce Antarktika'ya yakın yerleri çizmiş. O yüzden Türk tarihi kutuplarda çok erkenden başlıyor ama bizim böyle kitap okuma, işte arşivi tutma şeylerimiz çok zayıf. O yüzden bunları arttırmamız lazım. O yüzden biz 2017'den beri diğer ülkelerden çok daha geç gittik ama yaptığımız çalışmalarla diğer ülkeleri yakalıyoruz. Şimdi 194'ün üstünde bilimsel yayınımız var. Benim kendi yayınlarım da var. Mesela örnek gösteririm yine birazdan. Antarktika'da yaptığımız şeyleri arttırdıkça Türk bilimini yine Antarktika'ya götürmüş oluyoruz. Onun duygusuyla bir bayrak açmak çok güzel oluyor. Bir de kırmızı renk beyaz üstünde çok güzel duruyor. Ama orada herhangi bir ülkenin bayrak açıp bir yere dikmesiyle oraya sahip olamıyor. Anlaşmaya devam ettirmek, anlaşmayla kıtayı korumak gerekiyor. Bu çok önemli. Biz de bunu yapıyoruz. Her yıl toplantılarına katılıp anlaşmanın diyoruz ki burada şu bilimsel çalışmalar yapıldı. Biz daha bu bilimsel çalışmaları yine Türkler olarak yapacağız. Bu kıtayı yine korumamız lazım diyoruz. Bu sayede dünyadaki en barışçıl tek kıtayı Türk bilimiyle koruyoruz. O yüzden orada böyle bir bayrak açıyor olmak, yani yaptığımız bilim, yaptığımız çalışmayı simgeliyor ama hani bayrağı açarken içini doldurmak gerekiyor. Yani çok iyi bilimsel çalışmalar yapıp bunu yayınlamak gerekiyor. Bunu da yapıyoruz. O yüzden bunu yapıp bayrağı açıyor olmak çok güzel bir duygu oluyor. Mesela turistler de gidip açıyor ama bir bilimsel çalışma yapmış olmuyor. Dünyaya katkı sunmuş olmuyor. Mesela ben en büyük imparator penguen türünü gördüm. Onlar mesela iklimde yer değiştiriyor. Nasıl geliyor diye bizim bulunduğumuz bölgede en kuzeye geldiği bir bölge olarak kanıtladım mesela. Şu an en iyi bir Polar Research dergisine yayın olarak gönderdim. Yayınlanacak. Şimdi bunu yaptıktan sonra o bayrağı orada açıyor olmak çok daha güzel bir duygu veriyor. Çünkü bilim camiasına bir şey katmış oluyorsun ve oradaki hayvanları korumak için de yine bir şey yapmış oluyorsun. O yüzden çok güzel duygulardı diyebilirim.
Teşekkürler hocam.
Ben teşekkür ederim sorun için.
Mediye Songür, you can ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Firstly, I want to say thank you for your presentation. It was really amazing to hear everything about all your researchers. And I was actually proud to hear that Turkish researchers, scientists are there. Actually, I have more questions, but some of them were answered. So I want to ask something different. What is your daily life there? Is there something different from your normal life? For example, your sleeping hours, your eating habits, or your clothing? And the second question is, have you ever had a moment that you say, wow, I was amazed or something like this? If you give information, details about this, I would be happy. Thank you.
The last question, I was amazed by what? Did you ask for special something or?
Something special, any kind of moment you
Yeah.
feel special or amazed there.
Yes, great, thank you. I will start with the last part. I saw every animal species which lives in the Antarctica. So I am just happy to have that. I saw humping whales, the polar bear, the emperors, and also I record many things that I cannot share on internet. For example, the penguins eaten by leopard seals. I have a documentary that leopard seals eating a penguin, but I cannot share it anywhere. So that's the most amazing time for me because it's happening in just front of you, the nature of the world. So that was the best thing. And also I have running with the whale, the orca, the killer whale. We just follow an orca with a boat. Our boat was 2 meters and orca was longer than us. So it was the most perfect moment for me. It was in 2017, my first time in Antarctica. And our daily life is very easy because we are planning everything before go to the Antarctica. We choosing clothes, we choosing the calories that we are going to eat, and we are heating our sleeping spaces. So the good planning brings you a good daily life in Antarctica. So we are just lucky to do that. And also we are working very fast in Antarctica. For example, we eat too much because it is cold. So you need more energy. If I compare my eating habits, it's going to be getting more in Antarctica or in Arctic. If we go in light periods to the Arctic, for example, I was in Arctic for full of light. So it just changed your sleeping times. You are just more awake. So you want to do everything, but you are just getting tired because of the cold. So if you sleep too much, or you can just sleep in small periods. It depends on your work. What are you doing? It depends mostly in this. And the daily habits also, we are just getting too much cold on the field because it is really extreme places. So even in 0-degree temperature, you can feel very cold. It is not the same there 0 degrees and in here the 0 degrees. They are completely never same, but you can get cold. Even the professional clothes are not helping in sometimes. So that is the most hardest part, the daily life in the polar regions.
Yes.
Thank you, Sinan teacher. Ada, you can ask your question.
Thank you. I have read a magazine about Antarctica. There are only 2 types of plants in Antarctica. Did you see any of the planets?
Yes, I will show you one of my book. Please just give me a second. I will show you. And this is my screen. I think you are seeing a book, comic book, right?
Yes.
This is my monthly book, monthly journal. There was monthly journal. I was written scientific stories in here for the child. So in one of the pages, I have the plants in here. There are only 2 plants which has flowers. One is this one, the Antarctic. I should look for the English names. The pearl, something pearl about something like that. The other one is this one. They have just very small flowers. So there are only 2 types of flower plants. There is no trees in Antarctica, 0. But you can see some algae, lichens, and mosses. Very too many. In these places with the darker color, you can see in here, they are just the places you can find these types in those places. In other places, the other whiteness, they are really thicker glaciers and there's nothing. But if you go a glacier, if you take to the stone under the glacier, you can find some tree fossils because before millions of years, the Antarctica was not in this place. It was in more upper parts. So it was in upper parts, and it has many trees on it. But when it go to its direction in these places, it got stuck by the ice. And if you take out the ice from the upper parts, you can find some tree fossils. But in nowadays, you can only see two types of plants. And there is also third plant, but it is not native plant. A tourist put it to the ground. So they are not just counting, but there is also tree plants you can see, which has flowers. And we also found some lichens, and we named on it. And also we found algae for this expedition. From this expedition, we will going to be named that also.
Thank you. Çağla, you can ask your question.
Hello, my name is Çağla. I am at Kemport Gemlik Anatolian High School in Bursa. What challenges and responsibilities take scientists who go to Antarctica?
Oh, long question.
Yes.
Challenges and responsibilities. I think there is no challenge, because it is the best thing that any human can do. It is like going to space. So you are very lucky to go there. So the challenges are going to be less, because when we are sending a scientist, we are giving everything to them, the clothes, the planning, the operations. So it is very easy for our scientists to go to the places. The responsibilities are very high, because everybody should know and should learn the environmental protection, environmental rules. For example, in each operation, we are cleaning our shoes, and also we are cleaning our clothes in every field operation in a daily. For example, if we go 2 times in a daily to do field work from ship or from station to outside, we are cleaning themselves 2 more times. For example, you go 2 times, you clean your shoes 4 times. So that's happening for the responsibilities. And also you cannot drop anything, and also you cannot forget anything on the ground. You cannot put any garbage. So this is very important responsibility to do. And also you have a very huge responsibility, because you are going to conduct science to Antarctica or to Arctic. You should achieve that. So it is the very high responsibilities, because there is an opportunity, or there is a obligations, or there is a negative impact that in the end of the day, maybe you cannot finish your project. So that is the very challenging responsibility, I think, in Antarctica.
Thank you. Serap Teacher.
Merhabalar, iyi akşamlar hocam.
İyi akşamlar.
Bursa'dan, Hava Sınavı'dan Serap Arman ben. Bu arada teşekkür ederim. Biraz anlıyorum. Çocuklarımızdan da tabii ki biraz kendi İngilizcelerini zorluyorlar, ama ben seni Türkçe soracağım Sinan öğretmenim. Şimdi yaklaşık 194'e yakın makaleler ve bununla ilgili çalışmalar yapıyorsunuz. Projeleriniz de oldukça iyi. Bu arada teşekkürler. Benim merak ettiğim şey şu. Hiç acaba yaptığınız araştırmalarda, bu da böyle miydi? Bak çok farklı bir şey buldum. Bunun böyle olduğunu hiç düşünmemiştim dediğiniz bir durum oldu mu? Bunu İngilizce ve Türkçe olarak alırsam çok sevinirim.
Biraz daha spesifik olsun. Çünkü her şey orada yeni bir bilgi. Ben mesela 7 yıldır çalışıyorum. 7 yıldır çalışıp da bir şeyi 2 kez tekrar ettiğim bir şey olmadı. Her gün yeni bir şey öğrenebiliyorum. Yani o mesela müthiş bir şey. O yüzden soruyorum ve spesifik nasıl bir şey cevap olabilir diye düşünmem açısından böyle spesifik sorabileceğiniz bir...
Böyle şey demek istedim. Yani belirli araştırmalar yapıyorsunuz. Onlar sonuçta belirli verilere ulaşıyorsunuz. Ama bu verilerin dışarısında bu da böyle değilmiş ya da bak bunda şunları yakaladınız dediğiniz bir şey oldu mu?
Bulamadım cevap yani. Çünkü bir şey yapmak için gidip bambaşka bir şey olabilir. Mesela bu yıl bir jeolog arkadaş gitti, taş topluyordu, ağaç fosili buldu. Ya hiç projesinde yok, şeyinde yok, direkt önüne düştü mesela. Bu yeni bir şey. Ama mesela o ağacın hangi tür vesaire onu biliyoruz. Ya da yeni bir türse onu da bulabiliyoruz. Mesela bu yıl mesela yosun toplayan arkadaş vardı, Alp. Döndü dedi ki 15 tanesi yeni tür. Hiç yok. Yani şimdi hiç bilmeden yeni tür bulurum diye gitti ama 15 tane bulacağını hayal etmiyordu gibi böyle şeyler oluyor. Bunlar mıdır belki hani sorunuzun cevabı ama.
Evet. Teşekkür ederim. Çok sağ olun hocam.
Yani
And Esila, you can ask your question.
Öğretmenim ilk önce ben sorumu Türkçe soracağım. Kutuplara gidildikçe sıcaklık ne için azalır?
kutuplara gidildikçe sıcaklık niçin azalır mı?
Evet, onu sordu öğrencimiz.
Ya, kutubun soğuk olmadığından diyeceğim değil mi? Şöyle kış ayında güneş ışığı daha az geldiği için yani eğiklik eksen eğikliğinden iki kutuptan biri hangisinin kışındaysa daha az ısınma aldığı için çünkü bizi ısıtan şey güneş kış ayında soğuması artıyor ama yaza döndüğünde o aradaki fark komple değişiyor. Mesela -50 Antarktika'da ortalama kış ayı diyelim. Yazın eksi biliyor. Mesela rekor -89 kışın ölçmüşler. Ama +20 yazın ölçmüşler bir bölgesi. Yani bölgeden bölgeye fark ediyor. Ama ne kadar güneşin görmediği yani güneş eksen eğikliğinde daha az ışık aldığımız 90 dereceye gidersek oradaki sıcaklığın yani kutuba gittikçe soğur dediğimiz şey orada meydana geliyor. Ama kış ayında buradan buraya gitmenle yaz ayında buradan buraya gitmen arasında fark var. Yani kış ayındaki gidişinde daha soğuk görüyorsun. Başka soru var mı?
Gül, you can ask your question. Gül, do you hear us? Gül, bizi duyuyor musun? Mikrofonu açtı ama sorusu gelmedi. O zaman
Bir soru
sunum
daha var.
başından bir el kaldıran bir öğrencimiz var. Adını yazmadı ısrarla. MAEO okuludan bir öğrencimiz. Sesini açabilirsin. Açtık.
Merhaba hocam.
Merhaba.
Benim bir sorum olacak. Türkçe söyleyeceğim.
Tamam.
Kutuplarda buzullar eriyor ya. Yok olduğu zaman da biliyor musunuz? Biliyorsanız neye göre biliyorsunuz? Pardon hocam. Heyecanlandım.
Yok sorun değil. Şimdi kutuplarda buzullar yok oluyor. Neye göre mi biliyoruz dedin? Sorun böyle mi?
Evet hocam.
Ya şöyle takip ediyoruz. Yani her gittiğimiz buzulu ölçebiliyoruz. Gördüğümüz bir şey. Mesela bir dağ düşün. Büyük bir dağ. Dağın küçüldüğünü görebiliyorsun ya. Biz onu ölçebiliyoruz. Hem uydularla ya da gittiğimiz yerde ölçüm cihazı koyarak. Böyle sinyal, telefon mesela sinyal gönderiyor ya. Bizim de radarlarımız var. Sinyal gönderiyor. Bir cismin kalınlığını ölçebiliyoruz. Mesela böyle ölçüyoruz. Böyle ölçerek bunun kalınlaşıyor mu yoksa azalıyor mu? Bunu ölçerek mesela ortaya koyuyoruz. Ya da çok daha büyük alanda uydularla bunu ölçüyoruz. Bu şekilde ortaya koyuyoruz ve eridiğini görüyoruz. Ve gözünle de görebiliyorsun. Böyle geriye doğru hareket ettiğini. Biz ona buzulun daha hızlı erimesi, geri çekilmesi diyoruz. Bunları görebiliyoruz bu şekilde.
Anladım hocam. Teşekkür ederim.
Rica ederim.
Gül, again you can try to open your voice. Can you speak one more time?
Now.
Okay, we hear you.
Hi, I'd like to know how often Turkish teams are sent to the poles for scientific research.
Great. Every season of the summer months for both polar regions. For example, we are in Northern Hemisphere. We have summertime in here in the upcoming months. In July, in August, we will send a team to the Arctic. And in the summer months of Antarctica, for example, in January and February, we will send another team to the Antarctica. So they are just different summer times. And in 1 year, we are sending 2 teams, one of them to Antarctica and one of them to the Arctic. And we are doing this in every season. We completed 7 expeditions to unlimited from since 2017, but we sent first expedition team to Arctic in 2019. And due to pandemic, we couldn't send team in last 2 years. And last year we sent second team. And this year there will be third team to the Arctic.
All right,
Rukiye.
thank you.
Thank you. So, Rukiye,
Would you like to live in Antarctica forever?
No. Absolutely no, because there's nothing in here. But it maybe some people goes there for 1 month and it is enough. So you can 1 year. Sorry, not 1 month. Some people go there to work just for 1 year. So that is the most longest time for a human to do that. They just go only increase this time to 14 months and nothing more, because it's very enough for a human to do that, because there's many psychological changes happening after 6 months in expeditions to the polar regions. So it is very strong limits. You can just go for 1 year in maximum period.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome.
Okay, do we have any questions? I think we don't have any questions. Okay, the last.
Irem asked a question on chat. Why did you choose Antarctica and not another place for research? Why did you choose Antarctica? She said.
It was the last place that I didn't touch because I traveled other oceans when I was young. So Antarctica was very different, and I think everybody could travel 6 continents. If you want to do that, you can achieve that. And it is not a very hard thing to do. It is very easy to do. I think if you wish to visit all of the continents and all of the oceans, I think you can do that.
Thank you. Sinan teacher, I will ask you something. Later, may you look for the chat again, and can you answer the questions, and we can send to the students later. We have a lot of questions on chat, but we have less of time. And I think they want to play Kahoot. Is that okay? Right? Yes, yes, yes to chat if you want to play Kahoot. Şimdi chatte de çok sorular geliyor. Formdan da gelmişti. Siz onları sonra cevaplarsınız. Biz onları öğrencilerimizin gruplarına iletiriz. Soru cevap olacak şekilde sizlere iletilmiş. Bakıyorum böyle. Çok talep var mı?
Kahoot oynayalım hocam. Bir an önce Kahoot oynayalım.
Tamam.
Hamitan
O
hocam
zaman.
çok sabırsızdır eminim.
Hamitan hocam buradaysa oynarız. Ama o hep kazanıyor ya.
Bu sefer İngilizce.
Şöyle şuradan. Evet. Kahoot'umu görebiliyor musunuz?
Yes. We can see.
Evet, tamam. Şimdi Kahoot'umuza başlatıyorduk tam da bu zamanda. Şöyle başlat diyelim.
Sesi de verebilirsiniz hocam eğer şeyse.
Bir saniye. Tekrar şöyle
Bu arada
paylaşıp
Kahoot
başlatalım.
oynamayı bilmeyen var mı gençler? Kahoot için 2 tane ekran gerekiyor. We need 2 screen for Kahoot, you know? Students, pupils, teachers. Birazdan bir kod gelecek ekrana. O kodu kahoot.it adresinden gireceksiniz. We will give you a code and you join in.
Şu anda benim ekranımı görebiliyor musunuz?
Evet görüyoruz hocam. Klasik moda tıklayın hocam. Başlayacak.
Biraz yavaş ilerliyor.
Tamam. Geliyor.
Evet. Our game pin is go to kahoot.it and our game pin is 900270. Bengisu is here. Durunur, Zeynep, Meryem. Yes,
But only pupils. Not teachers.
We have 50 people limitation. So the first 50
Not
people.
50, Feride teacher. Only 40, I think.
40. Okay. 40.
I see 40.
We have almost 30.
Quickly.
Yes. Okay, I'm starting.
Oh, 40. Oh, 41. Demek ki 50 kişiymiş. Başak hocam doğru söylüyor.
50 diye aklımda kalmış. Başlatalım isterseniz. Sanırım olmuştur. Aa, 43, 44. Okay, I'm starting. First question is coming. Three, two, one, go. What do scientists study in research? Cooling of the earth, heating of the earth, the earth's color change, the earth spinning. Yes, answers is coming quickly. Right, the heating of the earth. 15 people knows the question. Okay, the next question is coming.
Sinan hocam, Başak hoca soruların bir kısmını değiştirdi. Zor diye. Ben de yeni görüyorum.
Evet. Yalnız şöyle, ben buradan geçemiyorum. Ne olduysa diğer soruya. Benim ekranımı kapattı bir şey. Şöyle.
Next deyin hocam.
Next'in üzerine kavut gelmiş ama hemen şöyle çekemiyorum. Çektik.
Isabella is winner now.
STO, İsmail, İrem, Rukiye and next
Sinan hocam ne hediye vereceksiniz birinciye? Birinci, ikinci, üçüncüye.
Hayda.
What is the gift for winner?
Evet. And who is the scientific leader of Turkish polar expeditions? You see the picture. Yes, the answers has came. Yes, Burcu Özsoy. Next question. STO İsmail Durunur. Adam.
Who is STO?
We will see, I think, later. Which polar region is a large and mass covered by ice? Sahara, I think, huh? What do you think? Car teacher, Amazon?
Oh, I don't think so.
Yes, Antarctica. Right. İsmail Durunur, Adam or STO. Next question. What's the biggest carnivore in the world? The biggest.
Dinosaur? Is it dinosaur?
Whale. Imperial. Polar bear? Which one? Yes, the polar bear is the right answer. Yes. Adam, Zeynep, Bulam. Bulam has came. Fifth. What do scientists study in polar research? They may preparing for polar games. or fashion trends in color.
I think fashion trends in color. It's good. Fashion trends.
Yes, that's right. The climate and environment. Adam or Adam, which one? Isabella? Yes. The last question. How does melting ice in the polar regions affect the road? It creates more ice cream. Yes, I know it.
I love ice cream too. More television.
Maybe. Yes, that's right. We will see the winners. The third one is Ismail. The second Isabella, and the first winner and Adam Z. The fourth one Drunur, and the fifth Ur. Thank you for your participation. Yes, you saw the winners. What will you do for the winners, Sinan teacher?
Üç kişi Türk mü yabancı mı?
İlk ikisi yabancı.
Can we see the winners? Do they have camera?
Adam
Z ya da adam öyle yazmış olabilir. Yes, you can open your mic.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, which country are you from?
From Poland.
Poland, oh great. Perfect. Congratulations.
Thank you. Are you Anna's student? Who is your teacher?
Anna Gacki.
Anna Gacki, yeah. Thank you, Anna. And second winner, Isabel.
Isabel. Can you open your camera, Isabel? Can we see you?
Where are you, Isabel?
Acaba Anna? I don't have camera, she says.
Okay, you can raise your voice. Open your mic.
Oh no, un momento, por favore.
Okay.
Isabella?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I'm Isabella and I'm from Poland too.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you like our Kahoot game? And she closed her mic. Ismail from Turkey, I think. Ismail. I don't see.
İsmail.
Sorar İsmail'e, ben göremiyorum. Belki ben göremiyorum. Belki de
İsmail
düştü.
Eskişehir var ama o mu?
Olabilir.
Özkan hocam, İsmail sizin öğrenciniz mi?
Evet. Evet, oymuş İsmail.
İsmail konuşabilirsin.
Hello.
Evet. Merhaba İsmail, tebrikler.
Merhaba hocam. Teşekkür ederim.
Öğretmenin Özkan Hoca mı?
Evet.
Tebrikler Özkan Hocam.
Teşekkürler.
O zaman hediyemizi açıklayalım Sinan Hocam.
Düşüncem var şöyle. I have my book. I will sign it and send to the winners.
Thank you. Birinci ve ikinci öğrencilerimiz kitap okuma projesinden hocam. First winner and second winner is from today a reader, tomorrow a leader project. They are Anna's pupils. Çok güzel denk geldi yani. Kitap okuma projesinden. Çok güzel. Tamam. Evet Sinan Hocam, son sözler sizde o zaman.
Thank you for everybody who wait for this time. And I hope to meet you in polar regions. I think we will see each other in Antarctica or Arctic. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Goodbye.
Good night. Good evening.